So I don't have a mic yet, but I will soon get a bass drum mic, and somehow I obviously need to mount that mic. So I got the Kelly Shu, and I'm going to be installing it on the drum today so that I can eventually mount a mic in this drum. Here's all the items provided by the Kelly Shu mount, minus the scissors. You'll need your own scissors. All right, so first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna install these leather straps on the batter side lugs. I'm just gonna take the lug out, basically slide it through this to make a hook, and then put them all back in. Pretty easy process of loosening the screws and taking them out. So for instance, here's one. Basically, I'm just going to slide this through here. From what I hear, they're pretty tight. So slide it through here. Slide the other end to make a little hook. So it should look something like that. I don't know if you can see that or not, but yeah, you just slide both ends, make a little hook. And you put it back in. And make sure you support the lug on the outside of the drum when putting that screw back in. All right, and that's one. And I'll spare you some time and I'll just do the other ones on my own. All right, so as you can see here, I've added all these little hooks all the way around the inside of the drum. Let me see if I can get a close up on one of these. So as you can see, it's just kind of like a little loop, right? And we're just gonna basically hook our cables to this. And so you'll see I added all 8 of the actual loops, but I'm probably not gonna use the bottom ones simply because I want to try to put a pillow there to mute the resonant head. Also, this is the actual loop, and because a microphone's gonna go on top of this, I know the microphone obviously is gonna sit up a little bit, so I want to mount this lower in the drum. So I'm thinking maybe like here-ish on the resonance side. This way the mic will kind of sit in the middle. So time for me to measure out some cable. Best way for me to measure out the cable would be to probably build one end of these, right? Using the hook, the lock, and the actual cable itself. From what I hear, you just kind of push this in here as far as it'll go. It'll get to a stopping point. Make sure you put the lock on first, obviously. So I'll put the lock on, put the hook on, and then this should just slide up on here. I gotta make sure I keep the rubber tight. This is tight, and that's that. And I mean, it should be tight because you don't want this coming loose, right? So now that I have this built, I'm thinking all I need to do is just hook one of these, right? I should probably loosen that a bit, get the hooks actually pointed in the right direction. So I just wanted to get this to point down so when this is actually tight on here, or if I can get it on there, once it's tight on there, it can just sit like straight across. So the best thing for me to do would be to kind of eyeball this. And from what I hear, basically you set this in here, kind of general, and you want to cut the cord half of the distance that you think it's actually going to sit. If it's currently this long, I need to cut it halfway, so I'll cut it around this length. Once you get one cut, obviously you want to match it on the other side so that it's equal on both sides, and then you're kind of done. Just do the same thing around the rest of the drum. I just generally measured the length with my finger. All right, so I got my first one measured out, and I mean, I'm just gonna roughly cut this in half, right? So I'm just gonna yonk. Perfect. So here's our first end. I'm just gonna connect the other end of this, and then we'll make 2 duplicates. The best way for me to probably make a duplicate is to take this one apart, just cut another piece of the string exactly the same length of this. So I'm gonna actually do that before I build a full cable. And so there you have it, 2 equally sized cables. Basically all I did was I took one of these, held it up against the other one, right, and just cut off equal length. Easy. So now I'm just gonna take these and I'm gonna put hooks on both of them and then hook up the bottom of this horseshoe thing. And yes, you'll probably struggle putting them on just like I did. It's worth it. I'm going to try to keep the hooks facing the same direction. Maybe I shouldn't have them facing the same direction. This is like this is like this. Yeah, so it looks like the hooks are gonna be the same direction on both of them. So I can just make them completely flat. And so there's one, right? One full cable. And I just basically made the hooks latch the same way on both sides. Made my 2 equal cables, so now I'm just gonna actually hook this into the drum and see how it fits. Let me loosen this other screw so that I can adjust the actual loops. And I will tighten these screws down, obviously, once I'm done, but this at least gives me some flexibility while I'm connecting these. So I'll hook this into the shoe, and then hook it into the actual hook. There's one. And I don't think it matters which way you hook these. I'm hooking them so that the hook is facing the back of the drum. So basically it's facing this way, but I don't think it matters if it faces this way or this way. Just gonna stretch this over, connect this in, and there you have it. There's at least one section done, mounted, and now it just flops around. Perfect. Okay, now we'll just basically measure out everything for the rest of them. Like I said, I'm probably not gonna use the bottom two. I'll use the rest, they'll probably be longer. So let me go ahead and make those cables. I'll do those off camera, and then I'll show you the finished product once we're done. All right, folks, and so there you have it. I went ahead and I attached the rest of them. You can see where I attached them on the drum. Obviously, I didn't use all the holes. I didn't use the bottom tie downs at all. I just used the rest of the lugs all the way around the drum, created even length rope between all of them, right? And so we've gone ahead and mounted all the way around the drum. And it leaves this kind of mounted just about in the middle. Again, I wanted to leave this a little bit low just so that it's not, obviously when I put a microphone on here, it should kind of centralize it, but that's kind of it. I know I didn't kind of walk you through every single step, but hopefully those of you who may be trying to set this up, this at least gives you a little bit more details. So yeah. So again, that's it for setting up the Kelly Shu. I guess now I should go ahead and put this drum head on. That's actually the reason I don't have a mic, is I don't have the mic yet for this drum. I just wanted to put this in because I'm in the process of putting a new head on this drum. If you haven't seen that video, I'll link it to this video. And yeah, so let's go put a head on this drum, and then hopefully we'll buy a mic at some point and we'll have this mic'd up perfectly with this shock mount. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.